Golf Central on YouTube is brought to you by the new elite family of woods and irons from Callaway.
Hey, welcome into Golf Central. I'm George Savaricas here with you for the next hour. We're going to be diving into those possible Ryder Cup rosters for each side later in the show, plus a big honor for a past U.S. Ryder Cup captain. That's later, but we begin tonight with the end of the PGA Tour regular season fast approaching, as now the tour's back stateside. TPC Twin Cities this week marks the 3M Open in Minnesota, and this will be the 7th playing of this event. It's a critical week for players in the top 70 bubble with an eye towards the playoffs. Also, top 100 bubble, which will be used to determine who keeps their cards going into 2026. 2 weeks to go before the playoffs, so there are a few past major champions in the field this week. Players like Adam Scott, who's trying to chase those FedExCup points. He's outside the top 80. Also others who hope to be making a statement for the Ryder Cup team. The captain Keegan Bradley, like Sam Burns. Chris Gotterup right now back in action after that win and third place finish at the Genesis Scottish Open, the Open. Ricky Fowler also playing after a tie for 14th at Royal Portrush. With more in Minnesota, let's head out to TPC Twin Cities, where we find Amy Rodgers, who had a chance to talk with one of the great stories from last week's Open Championship. Amy?
Hey there, George. Yeah, I got a chance to catch up with Hao Tong Lee, who made the quick trip here from the Open Championship to here in Minnesota for this week's 3M Open. He only got into the field on Sunday on the heels of that top 5 finish at the final major championship of the season. And Lee told me that he is looking to make the most of his opportunity to compete here this week. He is currently 3rd in the race to Dubai standings on the DP World Tour. He's just behind Rory McIlroy and Tyrrell Hatton, which means he is number 1 on the list in terms of not having PGA Tour status. Now, at the end of the season, the top 10 in that race will receive PGA Tour status, and Lee told me earlier today that is a major motivator for him at this stage in the season.
Yeah, definitely. Last week been really helpful. Apparently my confidence-wise, and just very happy to get in this week, have another opportunity to compete on the PGA Tour. So very grateful.
What are your goals for the remainder of this season?
I think I'm very close to get my PGA Tour card for next year, so I just want to keep the momentum, keep going, and hopefully have a better position for the next year.
What has come together for you and your game here in recent weeks?
I think my iron's been quite sharp. Overall year being quite steady, so I think that's one of my strengths.
What did you take away from the overall experience last week?
I think we'll be, especially from last week to this week, we'll be more chill, and also realize that I actually can compete with world number 1 in those kind of moments. Just give me a lot of self-belief.
I spoke with Lee on the driving range today as he was preparing for his first start here at the 3M Open at TPC Twin Cities. And although he may not be familiar with the course, even those who have played here before will have to do some adjusting here this week, as Mother Nature will in fact impact a little bit of how the course will play here. Just last month, this area receiving 7 inches of rain. They received several more inches in the early part of July, and even here yesterday had more rainfall that forced the suspension of play as players were trying to get some practice going. I spoke earlier today with Joe Ralstead. He's the director of golf course maintenance here at TPC Twin Cities, and he said it's really been a challenge for him and his team just getting this course ready for this tournament. He said those 4 weekends in June, each weekend they'd have to call an audible and try and find something else they could work on until the rain and thunderstorms would move out, and then they could work on getting the course ready. But once all was said and done, he said that they are happy with how the course is going to play this week, but he said that it's going to be a little bit softer than they would like it to be. That rough a little bit thicker than we usually see here. It was 3.5 inches in height last week, and they've let it grow up to this point. He said that they would make the decision sometime later today whether they would go ahead and mow it one last time before the week starts or just let it grow up. I had a chance to speak with Camilo Villegas after he played 9 holes here earlier today, and he remarked at how difficult the rough was and discussed some of the challenges of trying to navigate TPC Twin Cities.
I think it's got a lot of angles off the tees and into the greens. You got little angles off the tees, and you got to be smart. Greens are rolling pretty good. They are soft. I see we're going to get a little different wind Thursday, Friday, Thursday compared to the other days, but the golf course is in great shape, and I like the challenge here.
You mentioned the greens are soft. I saw that they received almost 10 inches of rain here just last month. Have you seen that affect any other parts of the golf course?
Yeah, off the tee, the fairways are not rolling either, so it's playing long. I just played this 9th hole. I just hit a driver 5-wood into the wind, so I fade all the way to driver 9-iron here when the wind is the other way and the fairways are firm. So yeah, it's the rough is up, it's healthy, but overall it's in good conditions.
Yeah, I think there's some tough tee shots, some tee shots with hazards in play, so you've got to drive it well first of all, but from there, you can make a lot of birdies. The greens are rolling perfect right now, so you can make a lot of putts. So I would say really get the ball in play off the tee, avoid some of those penalty shots, and then all things go from there.
With the rough already being as hardy as it is, how much of that do you think will be penalizing and be a factor here this week?
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited. I think it'll make it play a little bit more difficult here, which I think is good. And really separate a good shot from a mediocre shot. So I like that part of it, and I think it'll be a good test this week.
Yeah, it's a little soft, but it's I don't think it's anything out of the ordinary here. It's always usually a little on the softer side with the humidity and the heat and everything, and it's pure bent grass, which is something I love, and you obviously can't get it too hot, so they have to keep some moisture on it, which is fine just to keep it cool. But no, the course is in great shape. I'm excited for the week. So,
what do you anticipate will be the biggest challenge out there this week?
Controlling spin could be an issue into the greens. I think we have some more rain coming overnight, a couple nights. So, yeah, just controlling spin every now and then. But I don't think there's supposed to be a whole lot of wind all week. So, I guess the issue could be making just a lot of birdies or lack thereof. So, yeah, I'm imagining low scores this week, and regardless of wind direction, but I don't think there's supposed to be a whole lot of it, so scores will probably be pretty low.
Ralstead told me he expects that scoring will be lower here for the tournament this year, just with all the rain they've received. The greens are so soft, which will really allow players to attack these pins and go low here this week. And also the light breeze that they're used to receiving in this area is one of the biggest protectors of this golf course. George, it's currently not in the forecast here, so we could expect some really low scoring here this weekend.
All right, certainly something to watch for, Amy. And now we're going to take a quick look at the odds at the 3M Open. Chris Gotterup, Sam Burns currently co-favorites at 18-1. Wyndham Clark coming off a strong finish at the Open, 25-1. Past champion of this event, Tony Finau, 35-1 for him. And our defending champion, Johnny Vegas, is 75-1. Those odds courtesy of DraftKings. So that's what Vegas thinks about Vegas in the 3M Open. We welcome in Paige McKenzie, who always does a good job crunching the numbers. Paige, this is your 7 of the 3M Open. What have you been able to tell about the profile of past winners to this point?
Well, the reality is the odds makers are going to have a difficult time because some of the past champions haven't come off that short list that we just saw. In fact, when you look at the recent champions here, most of them have been ranked outside the top 100 in the world. 5 of the last 6 winners, in fact. Tony Finau was the only one that was a top-ranked player that went on to win. A lot of that has to do with the strength of field. This typically doesn't bring the top players, but this year may be an exception. 11 of the top 50 players in the world will be teeing it up this week. In addition to that, 5 of the 6 winners were also top 10 in strokes gained approach during that week. So it certainly rewards approach play. You got a sense of that from how Tom Hoge described it, which was just get it in play and then you'll have a shot into the green.